In this video, I'm going to use Python and the FPDF module to turn some data, some sort of simple data, into a table in a PDF file. So I sort of Googled it, and AI told me my basic steps, and then I will adapt it to, a more realistic situation. But they have the data and it's coming. They are doing a tuple of tuples. So they have a tuple that is the header, and then followed by tuples, which are data. Um, and they gave me different data when I uh, searched it previously. But they did give a tuple of tuples, and I asked myself if I turned it into a list of lists, would it still work? And it did. So in the beginning, I'm going to show you sort of their example with this slight change of, instead of tuple of tuples, list of lists. And then I'll do something where I'm pulling down some JSON data and getting it into this format and then making the page. So here we go. All right. So this is just the PDF. Here I've hard coded some data, and then later on I'm going to pull down some JSON data I have up on my website with some planets. Let me run this. I should make two PDFs. There they are, table and planets. Okay. And so table is the first one. That's just that data, that made up data that AI made up, I guess. And then here is my data from this website. Well, this JSON file that I have on my website that pulls down the information of 8 planets and the sun. Okay, so because I'm pulling down some JSON information, so that's why I have JSON and requests. I'm writing some files. I want to control where I'm writing them, so that's OS. There I am setting up the OS to put myself in the same location as the Python file, and I'm bringing in the FPDF library or module. So here's the data that they gave, a list of lists, and the first list happened to be headers, or just the first item in the first row happened to be headers. But okay, instantiate in FPDF, add a page, set a font and a font size, and they work with this sort of table method. And so they're with this PDF table as table, and then they start looping over. Again, this table data was sort of a two-dimensional, I should say, a list of lists. Okay, so I'm looping over the outer list, looping over the inner list, setting up, establishing it as a row, and then grabbing they call the datum and make a row cell. So they're looping through that list of lists and outputting it. Okay. And that made, as we saw, just this basic table. Okay. So now I want to do some requests. So I set up some fake headers to get past any security. It's really just a JSON file, so there were no parameters in my query. And I'm doing the request library, which I've installed, and going out to this file. Let's have a quick peek at that. So it's just, again, an array of dictionaries with information about planets. I am, at this stage, I'm going to do different later on. That's not what I wanted to show. This is what I want to show. At this stage, I have uh, an image URL and a description. And for now, I just want to sort of toss those things out and deal with the sort of simple information that's easily going to fit on a table. And then I'll try to do a little bit better the next time. So here I am just looping through. Planet JSON was a list of dictionaries, so I'm looping over the list and I'm popping out the description and image properties. Okay, then I'm trying to get this information in that list of list formats. So I start off in here 47. I make an empty list. I am taking my first item in my JSON. I am getting the keys. So that's like position and distance and all that. And I am casting that as a list and appending it to my list. So that's the first, I'm making a list of lists. This is the first element in my list. So this list is the first element in my list of lists. Okay. Now I'm looping over all of the items in the JSON file, and this time I'm taking the values. So I'm sort of getting this structure. The first time I'm getting the keys, and then the other time I'm getting the data. All right, and so I have my data in the proper format from taking the JSON format and turning it into this list of list formats with the first list being the headers. And I took out the items that I didn't like that were sort of too long. And I'm instantiating an FPDF object and using L. So I want this one to be landscape. I'm adding a page. I'm using times, it's 12 point. And I'm just sort of copying this information that we had before, except calling it planet data instead of table data, but otherwise just doing this, taking that code that we had before for how it handled a list of lists, also handles a tuple of tuples. Walk through that information, create the rows and cells in the rows, and then save the PDF. And then we saw that here. So there we have it. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you on this one. Sort of take a simple example of data with a particular format, in this case, list of lists, but tuple of tuples also worked, and use the basic method in PDF, this table method, to sort of turn that data into a PDF, displaying the information in a table, and then trying to move into a slightly more realistic situation where I'm getting the data that's not in that format, but I'm putting it in that format. So I'm pulling down some JSON, I'm getting rid of some properties I don't like. I'm working with the JSON to get in the list of list formats, and then sort of proceeding as before. That's what I wanted to show you on this one. Thanks for your attention.